been so long since I've seen you all. Whole 30 minutes.
It's been such a long time.
It feels like much more. Hi everybody, welcome to you guys' honor panel. So real quick, I'm just going to introduce your moderator for this panel, and then let him take over. He's going to take care of everything else. Please give a warm welcome to Silverquill.
I'm from Colorado, and I have to say, our cities are sisters in snow. So I need to hear another round of cheering to warm things up. How you doing? Excellent, excellent. And now, here we are finally on the same page, which is kind of important. We've had a season where there were some early airings, and we wanted to keep it on the down low about the season finale as best we could, so everyone could enjoy it. But now, we're all here together celebrating the show for 9 years. And with us today are a variety of talents and wonderful people who helped make that happen. So, without further ado, I want to start bringing them up here so we can all thank them. So, first and foremost, well, not really foremost, but he's first on my list. He's the one I have to scroll down for the least. Good fellow. He was brought on in season 1 halfway through as a storyboard artist, but eventually he worked his way up to director of the whole blessed show. Let's see here. He has worked on Ed, Ed, and Eddie. He has worked with Momentum as a storyboard artist. Martha Speaks. Please welcome Big Jim Miller.
Big Jim, Big Jim, Big Jim,
Big Jim, Big Jim, Big Jim.
I love how easily accessible his name is.
Please escort scope out from the
Next up, we have a voice actress. In fact, one whose talents made my favorite episode possible, Sisterhood Social. Let's see, her first role was a preschooler on Being Ian, which was produced by her father. She's been Tiny Pterodactyl on Dinosaur Train, Sally Brown on the Peanuts motion comics, and Sweetie Belle on My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Squeaky
Please
Belle.
welcome Claire Follett.
Claire. Squeaky Bell. Squeak. Oh. Careful.
You know
Come on.
past this seating. Next up, we have more vocal talent. She has served as Sassy Saddles, Indigo Zep, and of course Starlight Glimmer. But she's also had an extensive career in the anime industry. Kyo Kanuji in Ranma 1/2, Sango in Inuyasha, Lena Kronos in Zoids, Scarlet Witch / Wanda Maximoff in X-Men Evolution, and basically, Princess Morbucks in Powerpuff Girls Z. Please welcome Kelly Sheridan.
Kelly. Quiet.
Oh, yes.
Quiet.
You know, I really feel like I should follow the rules of Zombieland and encourage everyone to stretch before they come up on stage. Okay, not a lot of zombie fans here. That's okay. When the apocalypse happens, I'll know who did cardio.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I'll tap. Alright. We have another voice actress who has an anime background, including being Soku Okita in Ginkama, Mika in Daebal Senki. She auditioned for MLP during season 5, and she joined us as the adorable antagonist, now lawn ornament, Cozy Boy.
Cozy!
Yes, innovation on the stage, I love it. And now we have a voice actress who basically changed my entire opinion on yaks. She has been Yoko Nima on His Neighbor, Inmate 43B on Tooth and Nail, Angela on Tobot. Started her career in 2016. Please welcome adorable voice actress of Yona and Overwatch player extraordinaire, Katrina Salzberg.
There we go.
And now from vocal talent, we have the people who helped make these wonderful animations, including these wonderfully memorable faces of our beloved ponies. Mean-tastic, I tell you. We have a storyboard artist for Equestrian Girls from the Legend of Everfree Onward, and the Best Gift Ever special. She says that if you see a silly face, it was likely her work. Please welcome Tori Grant. And also, hailing with a proud history of storyboard artistry and revision, she has worked on Equestrian Girls, Rocket Monkeys, Dr. Dimension Pants, and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Please welcome, she's also been on My Little Pony Season 7 and 9. Please welcome Desiree Selmark. And I should say that I adore your headwear.
Thank you so much. I hope everybody is having a good time.
Good time, yeah.
What sharp humor.
Oh.
The puns over here.
I'll repeat my joke. I cannot camembert this anymore.
Well, you just gotta let it breathe.
Enough with the cheese pun!
Well,
One quick thing for the tech people, this microphone is not on.
there you go.
All right.
Broken.
Wait, but then this one won't work.
Well, actually, here we go. Let's just move these down.
Yeah,
I had a good idea. You're all my witnesses because this is my good idea for the decade. But once again, I'd like to ask everyone for a round of applause for the people who made my little pony possible. But though the show may have concluded, it's never the end. It's also a time for reflection, to look back and enjoy things. It's also a time to anticipate. But I don't think we can ever truly look to the future without maybe just a little sense of adieu. And so, as a thank you gift to everyone, as you move forward to new projects and relations, I find it's always good to have clear communication. So if you see a bad idea coming, just give them a signal.
Can I use that in like my everyday life? Yes.
And so, as you help yourself to a doom flag, I'd also appreciate if you could tell the audience the first brony convention you remember attending.
I think the first one I went to was in Everfree Northwest. We weren't officially invited, and a bunch of crew drove down from Vancouver to crash it.
I think the first one I went to, I was invited to, and it was also Everfree Northwest. I remember being very young. My memory is not very good.
Did you go to Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah. It was Everfree Northwest, and it might have been 2013 or even 2012.
Wow,
that was the
first one.
That might have been the same one I crashed.
That was.
We did not speak.
We weren't friends then. We still are.
Still not friends.
Your best friend. I can't remember if mine was also Everfree or if it was TrotCon. Does anyone else know? You guys probably know better than I do. The first convention I
Everfree.
remember going to was a convention. I'm just gonna say it was TrotCon because you guys said Everfree and TrotCon deserves like a little bit of love. So let's say TrotCon. It's probably not accurate, but that's my line and I'm sticking to it.
Mine's easy. It was 5 months ago at Everfree Northwest.
Yeah. Tell you.
Mine was also 5-ish months ago at Everfree.
Yep.
This is my first one.
Doom, doom!
Boom.
Yay, Doom!
This is also my first time.
Well, because now you're going to be accepted and celebrated by this community. You're doomed to be loved forever.
Yep.
Now, I honestly feel like Everfree Northwest owes us for like free marketing. So, Northwest, you owe me a quarter. Now, I would say my own memory. I remember meeting, I think,
No, wait, what was your first con?
Oh, my first convention was BabsCon 2012.
Ooh, that's fun.
Wow.
I had not yet started doing videos, so I just was sort of wandering around checking cool things out. This is where I first met Tony Fleece.
Sorry.
But I think it was at Nightmare Nights I got to first meet you and Kelly, and others I'd never got to meet before, so it's a pleasure.
Hello.
Hello.
So, basically, gonna ask just a few questions, a little bit of icebreakers, but then I'll be bringing this portable mic down to all of you, so you can ask some questions of these wonderful guests. But there's always a
And guess what? There's no NDAs anymore, so we can answer it.
Yay!
You don't work on the show anymore. What do you got? Secrets you gotta hide.
Hey.
I was 100 my dad.
Although I guess it bears mentioning that because season 10 is going to be handled by the IDW Comics, no one here knows.
We don't know any of that
Honestly,
stuff.
heard about it for the first time today, so that's where I'm at.
Everyone leaves me out of the loop. Because I'm not on the show and I'm not fit. But we do practice a rule here at conventions. It's this little known thing called the 6-2-1 rule. Everybody?
6
hours
hours
of sleep,
sleep,
2 meals,
2
a shower.
meals, and a
So I'm going to say,
shower.
down the line here, what's your breakfast of choice while at a convention?
I usually go to the hotel thing and have the buffet and eat terrible. Because it's here and I don't want to walk far.
Don't blame me in this
Are
weather.
we answering down the line? Oh, my bad. Okay. Well, this morning I had eggs, if you care to know. They were poached.
Softer, medium, or hard?
Well, I asked for medium, but they were a little bit on the runny side.
I like them.
But I like my eggs anyway. I like my eggs basically any style, so...
That's a mood.
Yeah!
A mood.
I like oatmeal because apparently I'm 80. Oatmeal and an apple. And then
You don't have to worry about chewing that early in the morning.
chewing's overrated.
Chewing's overrated.
Smoothies for the win.
You're funny.
That's what when I'm at conventions, I try to stay healthy because flying and you're meeting a bunch of people and all that stuff. So I take an NRC every morning too, some vitamin C.
I have a bath and hand sanitizer.
I do that too. In the eyes. English muffins and apples. With a chaser and hand sanitizer.
In the mouth.
Yeah. Well, just some strangers on the plane, so. No, I'm not. Ew,
I had Halloween candy this morning, which is a great idea. A little bit extra insulin, that's okay. I mean, candy probably every morning, to be honest. It's just best for conventions. Sugar Rush.
Have you ordered the big bag of just the marshmallows from Lucky Charms off of Venezuela?
I have not. I didn't know that was a thing.
You can do that.
Don't you're gonna kill me.
You're killing yourself.
Well, maybe I will.
I was giving Katrina candy on the plane here, and then she checked her blood sugar, and we're just like, oh, we gotta stop.
There's a little stash in my bag for later.
Yak, need more candy.
I also went to the buffet, and I just piled my plate high with pastries and
There's a buffet.
Nice laugh.
Okay, so picture this: toasted English muffin, pancetta,
Ooh.
a poached egg,
Where were you eating?
goat cheese. No, I'm talking about my dream breakfast. Hey guys, this is a cartoon, so I'm gonna make up my breakfast. And hollandaise on top.
Well, now I'm hungry. Thanks, Henry.
You're getting on to
Cream breakfast. Cream breakfast.
All right.
Yeah.
What?
Oatmeal and 2 apples.
Jody Rebel. Well, here's a question about history. Because you started started about midway through season 1. You worked with another teammate on Ed and Eddie and brought over. When you started, did you have any idea that you'd become show director?
No. I'm not a fortune teller, so I was not able to foresee the path that I was on.
What was your reaction when you found out you would be over?
Very flattered. I mean, I came up and was working with Jason Thiessen at the time, so it was a little overwhelming. I was terrified, of course. There was a lot of, by that point, we knew the fandom existed, so there was a lot of like, don't screw this up. I guess I didn't do too bad if I made it all the way to the end.
Now, Claire, you started in voice acting very young.
Oh yeah, I did.
Her demo reel was at age 5.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Her parents exploited her.
They took all my money. No, just kidding. That's a bad joke.
That's why you were legally emancipated when you were 14.
Yeah, that is true.
Like Gary Cohn.
That's what the name I was trying to think of. Like, this joke is going nowhere if I don't remember that guy's name. Very cool.
Got your back.
Totally opposite of my situation. Did I need to elaborate on that? Or?
Well, I'm curious what your first recording session at My Little Pony was like, or if you even knew.
Okay, well, I don't remember it. There's my answer. I'm sure someone older like Tabitha would probably remember what.
I bet you there's a recording of it somewhere.
I bet you there. You know, it was probably as a child. I guess I started when I was like 8, 9, maybe. And now I'm 20.
21.
21.
21?
You did get to take part in an election year.
I'm 20 now, and I started when I was like 8 or 9, and I probably consisted of a lot of screaming, a lot of hyperness, because I couldn't really control that as a kid. I was professional, but yeah, or now. Like coffee is the same thing as having like a cookie as a kid, but I definitely had a lot of energy, so probably would have been a lot of eye rolling from the adults in the room. I'm just trying to paint a picture of what it might have been like, because I don't remember. I'm making this up. And I probably didn't. I know when I first got the audition for it, I was like, My Little Pony. That's a kids show. I was 8, and I said, My Little Pony. That's lame. And I was like, I'm not gonna do it. My dad, and my mom were like, you're gonna go to this audition just
because we need the money.
No. And they were like, no, you gotta do this. And I was like, fine. And then I ended up getting it. So.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Mom and Dad. I know you're watching at home.
That was horrible.
I think they just wanted to one-up someone at scrapbooking. Here's a shot of my son when he put macaroni on his head. Oh, that's nice. Here's my daughter recording for Hasbro.
My brother is very talented and way better than me in like 20 million different ways. I won't list them so that I can be higher on your guys's.
He's not here, Claire. This is all about you.
Phil, I know you're watching at home.
Right, but you both worked on Dinosaur Train.
Yes, we both did work on Dinosaur Train, and my dad as well. And my brother actually started voice acting. He's 2 years older than me, so he started before me. And he started because he was a really good reader at a young age. And my dad was like, hey, I need you to my dad created a show called Being In, which in Canada is like kind of more popular thing. You guys probably don't know what it is. But anyway, it's a show that he made pretty much based off his life. And he got my brother to read a little chunk of something. He's like, hey, you're pretty good. And then I was like, I want to time. And I didn't know how to read, so I would just copy whatever it was. So we both kind of got into voice acting around the same time. But my brother was on Dinosaur Train as well until he hit puberty. And boys in voiceover change, their roles change a lot. It's a very common thing. It's sad, but yeah, he left the show when he got older. Sad face.
I look forward to him in another show.
We'll see.
We'll see. Now, I have a dual question for both Kelly and Sunny, because both of you having voiced these wonderful villains, some reformed, some not so much. I noticed that you both had to switch roles. Starlight, when she was very charming, very friendly, until she silences Twilight with the best quiet I've ever heard in an animation. And Cozy Glow is like Shirley Temple, but I'm hearing the Omen in the background. How do you both affect this radical shift in personality while you're voice acting?
Not a shift. No, go for it. Okay, I knew that Cozy Glow was going to be the villain in season 8, but I also knew y'all were supposed to know. So she wasn't two different people. It wasn't two different people. She was just very focused on getting her needs met and her goals met. And even though those were nefarious goals, the way to get her goals met was to trick people into thinking she was on their side. So it wasn't a switch, it was just tricky. It was just being who she was, but to get what she wanted, she had to be nice.
Manipulated.
Yeah, help her with her homework.
That's why her cutie mark is a chess piece. Playing a few moves ahead.
Yeah, so for me it wasn't a switch, it was a knowing where she wanted to end up.
Mine was a switch.
It was.
Yeah, I didn't know Starlight was going in the direction that she ended up going in when I played her in season 5. So I think the original breakdown for her said a cross between Dolores Umbridge and Jim Jones that drink the Kool-Aid. The guy get Miss Wilson to thank for that one. And so when she had her big reformation, we had a conversation in the booth about, okay, is she going to sound different now that she's, had this big change? And the answer was, yeah, let's put her closer just to your normal voice print, make her a little bit younger. And so I like to think of it as, and this is retroactively, I didn't plan this because I didn't know where she was going, but I like to think of it as the Starlight we meet in season 5 is wearing this mask, there's this artifice. And when she's freed of that, she drops it, and then what you see is like the real Starlight underneath. So, yeah. But I didn't come up with that on the day. Let's make her sound different. So, yeah.
Trina, as I understand it, your career officially started in 2016. Right? You started doing voice acting work at that time, right about?
It was so long ago. No, I think so. I'm trying to remember when I finished school, and then I auditioned for like about a year and a half, but nothing was really sticking. And I'm like, well, maybe it's not for me. And then was it 2016 that I booked my first job? I think so. When did I get my blue card?
Only 3 years ago.
I'm gonna say yes. Yes.
When you found out you were going to have the role of Yona, were you aware of bronies at the time?
Yes.
What? If I may throw, what were your thoughts at the time? It's like, oh wow, or oh no.
No, I was so excited. I was so excited to be on a show that was like a part of something so big. I mean, everybody knows about My Little Pony. So when I started auditioning and when I decided I wanted to be a voice actor, I was like, I need to be on this show. It's one of the few Vancouver shows that I was like dying to get on.
I think you were the most excited when we were doing auditions that day too.
Was I?
I think, well, 'cause
I was so nervous.
I think you knew what you were getting into, where some people it was just part of the going up
Right.
audition.
Yeah. No.
Aside from like Vincent and Shannon, who were already part of it.
Yeah. No, I remember when I found out that I booked it, I was in a gym for like once time in my life, and it was 10 p.m. and I got an email, and I went, my boyfriend's in the room, I'm like, Lee! And everyone's like, what the hell is going on in here? I booked it! So I was extremely excited. It was a good year. Yeah. Yeah. But the gym people still think I'm insane, so I've never come back. It was the one time.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And for Tori and Desiree, as you both worked on storyboards, one, the claim, if we saw a funny face, you probably came up with it. There were a lot of funny faces, especially in season 9. So I'm curious if you were like looking in the mirror, trying to paint these faces.
I just looked in the mirror and there's just a really crazy looking horse looking back at me. Yeah, like if you see a picture of me, I'm always making a dumb face. So
Show them the face.
Show us.
there's just so many chins. It just keeps on going.
Oh.
But yeah. So drawing funny faces was like always the best, and I would always put them in the boards. And then when it got to like layout animation, I didn't think that they would translate that. Like usually they'll like tweak it a bit or tone it down.
The models only had so much range.
Yeah,
But
but in the final season, Jim was just like, go for it.
well, we had the layout people really wanted to try and do it. Everyone wanted to make it amazing because it was the last season.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's go and figure. Hasbro will tell us where the line is, and they never did.
I would always get like scenes sent to me when they were in like the layout phase from Jillian and Greg.
Yeah, Jillian Slont White and Greg Roth were
Yeah.
two layout artists who really went above and beyond with
They were-
making sure those worked. And
They were awesome. Like for a Trivial Pursuit, they kept on sending me Twilight faces, and I was just like, oh, you did it.
My favorite thing too is Tori and I would sit next to each other and we'd be drawing all day, and then every once in a while I'd look up and Tori would be making the face that she was drawing. So sometimes it would just be like a teary, crying face, and I'd be like, "Dude, are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm just drawing a board, dude."
I'm not sad. Twilight's sad.
Right, well, thank you for sharing those behind the scenes. But it's time to open up the floor to questions. So if you'd like to line up along the center aisle, I'll bring this mic down. I'm going to blast everyone with feedback if I pass between the speakers. Okay, good. I don't want to do
Nodding
that.
their heads no. We're getting it. All good.
Find
Ready,
out.
ready,
Also, I have some extra doom flags. So, right down this way, we'd like to give priority to the younger members of the fandom if they like.
I'm 2.
You're 2? Okay.
Everyone show their driver's license.
please order by height. That would be fun.
No, it just means you gotta squat down.
I'll go to the front, covering everyone behind us.
So you gotta work for it.
Hello, my question is for Claire.
Hi, Rarity.
Hi. It's been really great watching you grow up through the show and at all the cons and everything. I think you're at an ice cream shop right now?
I am. This is apparently public knowledge now.
I know, everybody spies on your private life. But I'm just wondering, what are your goals career-wise going forward?
Ice cream.
Is that
Ice cream?
Can you hold up yourself?
Yeah, we actually have them backstage. Bring it on in.
Yeah!
That's a great question, and also very difficult to answer because, as my mother will describe me, I'm kind of a nail bomb when it comes to what I want to do. Right now, I'm just trying to focus, which is hard, period, on comedy. So I moved to Los Angeles and I'm doing the Groundlings thing and improv and sketch world. Sketch really interests me, sketch comedy, characters and stuff like that. Still trying to find representation out in the big city, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's a very new world for me. In the past year-ish of dropping out of university, which I don't recommend doing, by the way, stay in school, and kind of pursuing that area. It's very tough, but I feel like it's going to pay off eventually, and I'm really excited for that. So that's kind of where I'm going. Candy.
Good luck, Candy.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Open this up to anybody. What's your favorite memory of working on the show?
Ooh. One of my favorite memories is when I was recording the song Fit Right In, and Jim told me to go more Nickelback.
Nickelback. In that direction a couple times.
It's the best direction I've gotten to date.
You know exactly what that means, though.
I know exactly what it means.
Right.
Because I love Nickelback.
Oh.
So everyone's gonna hate me now, but
Yeah, it's not bad. They're a pretty good band.
They are. I do like drunk karaoke, the best with Nicolette. So that's one of my favorites.
I'll play it for you. Oh.
I feel like no.
Oh, sorry. Let's go.
No, I wasn't. I didn't want to say.
We're too Canadian.
I'm not Canadian, I'm American.
Go for it, Sonny. Go.
Sorry. So, it was my very first episode. It was the first time Cozy Glow showed up, and it was so exciting to be in the room with the whole cast. But the main six had a couple lines at the beginning and a couple lines at the end, so they recorded for 10 minutes and they were out of it. And so it was me and Kelly and Michelle Creeber, Apple Bloom for a bit, and it was, and I think Michelle left, and it was just me and Kelly, and it's the guidance counselor scene. And she says the hot chocolate line, and that's devious. And we're in a soundproof booth, and I'm like, that's freaking hilarious the way she said that. And I can't hear, like nobody's laughing. It's just us in a soundproof booth with headphones on, and they take the button off, and everybody on the other side of the glass is rolling.
They can't hear us, so we're just going.
We can't hear them. Do the fake laugh so they think they're doing it. So we just scratch it. And I was reading through and like, oh, I know what Pinkie Pie sounds like, and she's going to say it like this. And I know what Applejack sounds like, and she's going to say it like this. And I know what Kelly's going to sound like when she says it. And she sounded so much funnier. It was in my head. It was amazing. That's something nice. And then you said something that's not it. That's my favorite, too.
I want to hear what Tori says.
Oh, it's really silly.
Excellent.
I say that now. It's probably not. But in one of my thumbnail meetings with Jim, I can't remember why we did it, but we started doodling Guy Fieri and he was Pony. And there was just like...
I was probably complaining about coming back from Christmas with my parents, and my dad was watching at Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And I'm like, ugh, I can't stand him. You know, he's sticking his hands in the food.
So I drew a pony of Guy Fieri, and he's like wearing the shirt and everything's doing the pose. And then like we just doodled it for the whole meeting, and I think we stopped paying attention for a bit.
Yeah.
Like, driving in a car, chugging some ranch.
Yeah. And that page ended up on the fridge at work.
So every time people had to eat food, they would have to look at Flavor Town.
The pony's name was Flavor Town.
And then for the final CMC episode, when we go to the fair, I was just like, there's so much fried food, can we put Flavor Town in? But we were like, oh no.
We just didn't have the time to design and build a character for. So just imagine he is there. Yeah. He's just in one of the booths eating corn dogs. One of my favorites, like there's so many funny things, but I'll just talk about it. When I got to go down to LA to record William Shatner, and I was the only I was there with Devin, the producer, but I was the only director there. And at one point I had to go in to the booth with Mr. Shatner, and I went down like that. Like imagine Claire's William Shatner, and I'm here, and I'm like, is it a wig? I can't tell if it's a wig. I couldn't tell. I'm trying to be real subtle and look, but I don't. I'm pretty sure it's a wig, but I couldn't tell. It's a good wig. It's a good wig.
Did you give it a little tug?
So did he notice a wig out on you?
No. He's a professional.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I had a question for Claire and a quick one for Jim. So Claire, in the latest Bronies React, I think you mentioned that you only had one line and it was for a background pony. So if you did get to act one last scene, what would you want it to be?
If I got to act one last scene,
Yeah.
as not Sweetie Belle?
See, as Sweetie Belle,
As
or
Sweetie
any
Belle.
character really.
Oh.
Death scene.
TVY.
Great. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I was gonna say, I would love to have like a one line, like, when like show, like animated, like they animate some other show, either a cartoon or like a live action thing, and they like do like a crossover kind of thing. Like someone from Family Guy or something, and if like they were to have like a Peter Griffin like My Little Pony, if it just like pans over and it's got like one really solid good line, like that's the kind of like one line I would want. It's like an impersonation of like someone that everyone's like, I know who that is, like maybe like a I don't know, big mouth character, like someone.
You didn't want to have like a catchphrase like Shazingo.
Like, that's a killer, or I don't know, something fun like that, something iconic. Yeah.
And for Jim, since you worked on the show Ed and Nettie, I'm just curious, are you aware of the meme format Blank, but with Ed and Nettie sound effects?
No. Is it all over YouTube?
Yep.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to look that up.
Hey, you didn't give me a
Alright, so I have a question for Jim and one for you. Sorry, I don't know your names.
That's okay. Tori.
Was there ever a discussion about reforming Cozy Glow, T-Rex, or Chrysalis?
No. Some bad guys are just bad.
Fair enough.
And we actually, you know, there was discussions way back in season 6, the ending of season 6. Hasbro wanted to reform Chrysalis, and I'm like, no. And I used the sort of comic book analogy that we need villains to come back. Like some villains just need to stay villains. So.
And one other thing. Do you know who made Twilight's pudding face in Best Gift Ever?
That was Kelsey Woolman, and I actually need to buy a charm because someone has a charm for my face. But her face is hilarious.
When we were reviewing the board and that panel went up, the room just lost it.
Yeah. Too funny.
Oh,
so
man.
good.
Again, we're just like, we'll try it and see what happens. Let's see if Hasbro says anything. Nope.
And one more thing, Sunny, go Bears.
Oh.
You have to have villains, so
Okay, there's some folks are recording this. I'm hoping this panel will find its way online. Can we get a round of applause for Chelsea for animating the pudding face?
So this is for all of you. Best pony, not the one who voiced.
Yo, I'm out. Wonderful number 3. I think that's the other one I knew. That. Oh my goodness.
Best for me, I like AJ the best.
The answer is obviously Flavor Town.
I wasn't even gonna say it.
I like the look of Weird Al. He's cheese.
Because for the main 6, I flip back and forth between Pinkie Pie and Rarity, depending on my mood. And then for the student 6, I'm so in love with you.
Gosh, I'm so torn.
No, you're Tori.
Applejack's probably my favorite main 6.
Guys, laugh. That was funny.
Keep working on that sketch stuff.
They're just not a fan of background humor.
For all future events, I would no longer like Silver Quill the moderator.
Fluttershy's my favorite of the main 6. Kindness all the way. And Maud's awesome. And I mean, Gummy's like probably my all-time favorite.
Gummy.
Gummy's.
Put it right.
Who else can lick their eye? I mean, that's
That's just weird.
Yeah, trying to lick eye.
My question is actually related to the show. I heard a rumor circling around on YouTube and provided Hasbro security, which is basically equivalent to a piece of paper. I heard a rumor that there are 6 bonus episodes that are going to air.
Well, haven't been officially announced. They're not really. They're clip shows. There's some new content, but it's not very much.
This is the first time I'm hearing.
We're getting more. It's more people. No, that just means there's more to look forward to in the past.
90% of it you'll be like, I've seen
I will
this.
confirm Sweetie Belle's in every single one of them. It's just a monologue.
No.
They're 15 minutes long
No.
each. It's going to be on HBO.
No. No. I don't even know when I don't know when they're coming out. They haven't announced anything, so please don't post it anywhere because I don't know if we're supposed to talk about it. But
Yeah.
what are they going to do? Fire us?
Hi. So before I get to my question, Kelly, I know you used to work on Barbie for a while, and my wife grew up with Barbie. She gets very nostalgic sometimes, and she likes to go back and watch some of the Barbie movies. And I hear your voice in there, and I'm like, that is Starlight Glimmer. That is not it's being played. So,
I'm sorry.
but my question is for the voice actresses here. Since you know your characters inside and out, since you voiced them, how did you feel about how your characters ended up?
Great question. I don't know why I said the first story. I don't have an answer.
She didn't watch it.
I just
She
thought
didn't
it was
watch
a great
episodes.
question.
I feel badly. It's like, oh, she's not going to be in anything after this. Oh.
Well, Discord escaped the rock thing, so
Exactly.
It was very final. At least there's no ambiguity. It's like, all right, well,
Dead.
frozen.
Yeah.
I'm Hermione is running her own little shop. I mean, in 9 to 7, she's like, yeah, Verity kind of gave her that dress, and it didn't really work out at first. But now she runs a little boutique, and she's happy. So, and she's got sandbar.
Sandbar.
Well, first of all, I can say this because I didn't write them, but I got the best lines in the finale.
Man.
Who gets to be an action hero pony? That's pretty amazing. Yeah, Starlight's like ruling the world from the school with her besties. Like, that's the best. So, yeah, I couldn't have imagined a better ending for her.
My interpretation of the last episode is that Sweetie Belle ended up as a teacher, I think, which is super cool because a part of me really, like as a human being, loves teaching stuff, and I feel like somewhere in my future there's going to be teaching involved. So I feel like that's kind of, I don't know, that's a cute little spot in my heart for that. I think that Sweetie Belle, after learning so much as a young pony, she grew up in that last episode too. I mean, well, first of all, she grew up by magic leaves things, and then went back, and then actually ended up, looking like that. And I think the design is really cool. I think like she looks really awesome as like an older pony, and teaching fits all three of the Cutie Mark Crusaders really well. Like that's a perfect ending.
It's
for,
like we knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
All this time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you.
Hello, this is for the VAs and Big Jim. Are there any notable lines that you remember recording that didn't get used in the show, or anything you recorded for a project that never got off the ground?
There's some with cuss words.
Really?
I want to see
Okay.
mine.
All right.
Corey knows one of the ones I'm talking about. We won't repeat it.
Darn.
I mean, we did 221 episodes, a holiday special, a bunch of shorts. I don't remember a lot of the specific stuff that we got cut. Or just sometimes it's just like a line like explaining something we're already seeing, so you don't really need it, and so you can cut it to save time. But there's nothing major that springs to mind right off the top of my head.
I think just because there's probably another example, but I feel like this is the only thing I can remember right now, so I'm gonna say it. There was, the episode where the Cutie Mark Crusaders go camping with their older sisters in quotes because school.
Sleepless in Ponyville.
What's it called?
Sleepless in Ponyville.
Sleepless in Ponyville.
The
Yes.
first one or the second one?
One where I yell the 99 buckets of us. I remember doing like a couple different count down from 99. Let's do 87. Let's do 74. It like so that they could have time cuts. And there was they decided on where they're gonna kind of use it when she's gonna fall asleep and when that whole kind of sequence takes place. So I remember doing a lot of that and like not all of it was in there. So there was a lot of other numbers and me just yelling, like, let me do it again, and just screaming like counting down. I think I counted down from like 10 to 0 too in case they wanted to like fade it in or fade it out or something. So there was a lot of yelling involved.
Wow.
Not all of it made it.
Yeah, I have the worst memory for stuff like that, which is kind of a survival skill as an actor. As soon as it's done, like, it's like, oh, and survive. But definitely lots of projects that never got off the ground. That's like part
That
of
happens more often than not.
it happens most of the time. I did a pilot for something like ages ago, 15 years ago, about a group of mythical creatures that all go to high school together, and I was playing the Loch Ness Monster, and she had braces. And she talked like this, but she had a Scottish accent. Yeah, we did like 5 minutes of that, and nothing ever came out.
Oh man.
I don't think I can talk about things that they may or may not get picked up. I know we're still kind of.
Yeah, don't, if you're under NDAs.
Yeah.
don't.
Sorry. But good question.
If you don't
For Jonas,
know,
I
always
don't
under
think we
NDA.
use all the fun stuff.
Yeah, we tried to come in planning ahead and knowing
Yeah.
what was staying and what was going.
Yeah, guys, the writers are really good.
Amazing.
They know what they want.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Before we continue, we're coming close to the official end of the panel, but we started a little late. So I think we can go tiptoe just a little bit over time, and if the Brownies React people don't like it, well, they can beat me up. We're going to try to keep your questions to just one member of the panel. And
Lightning round.
Lightning round.
Lightning round, let's do it.
As many questions as possible. So,
Ready.
one.
This one is for, I remember your name.
Cozy Glow?
Sunny? Sunny.
Sunny. Yeah. As a Packer fan myself,
I
what
hear
was
you.
your take on what we Midwesterners have called winter weenie?
One more time, what was that now?
Winter weenie.
Dude, I don't even know what that means. It's kind of dirty.
It was when we got snow on Halloween.
Oh,
yesterday.
1991. Oh, that snowmobile yesterday?
Yeah, so yesterday.
Oh, dude, that was nothing compared to the snowstorm in 1991. That was like 3 feet of snow. Yesterday was like, I knew it was going to snow. That's why I came to town early. I was all smug about that.
Oh man.
Well, as a Broncos fan, I'll say this is the winter of our discontent.
Sports.
So I guess this one is for Jim.
Yes, sir.
The whole Rogar was Discord twist was pretty controversial.
Mm-hmm.
So can you offer any kind of defense for some of the
Defense?
We made a choice.
Well, rather than making that defense, but was it planned from the start?
Yes, it was. And if you go back and watch the season, there are hints throughout it. Like even in that first episode of the season when Twilight, I can't remember exactly how it works, but there's a moment where the princesses say they're going to retire and the Twilight's going to take over, and Discord in the background actually has a little reaction to that. You can see him start to concoct his plans. Some of the lines he says, like threw into the summer sunset back about, looks like you're getting ready for what comes next. Like, it's all there.
Yeah.
And even in some of things like Grogar's eye color is yellow. Discord's eye color is yellow. Grogar has a beard, Discord has a beard.
That's
like,
right.
There's things, it's all planned in there. It's fine if you don't like it. You're within your rights to think it was not working for you, but we thought it was fun. No, I'm just saying you as the general you, whoever disagrees. But it was planned from the beginning. And then Nicole had that great line that's like, it was so obvious. Grogar, did it make the episode? Grogar, you spell Grogar the same as Discord, except it's totally different? No, it was, Grogar is just Discord backwards, but totally different.
Oh, jeez. Kroger.
I don't know if it would hold up in court, but it's the truth.
Haters just got played.
Yo, you got punked.
Hi there. My question is for Kelly. So you mentioned Starlight Glimmer had these sort of two faces, one with mask on, with mask off. I want to know which version of Starlight did you have more fun voice acting?
The evil one, the evil
Oh,
one. Gotta be the evil.
Well, I mean, playing villains is the best. Like, it's really darn fun.
And she's very good at it.
Yes, yes.
But I had a lot more to do as Reformed Starlight, so there were definitely some episodes as Reformed Starlight that were pretty fun. Like Heartswarming Tale was really fun.
Yes.
And every little thing she does was great. There's a lot of really fun stuff to do as neurotic, normal Starlight. But playing villains is just so juicy, so much fun, you know? Yeah, it's fun.
So Bad Girls, did they have more fun?
They really do! They really do. They don't care about consequences.
I like that you had that ready.
This is for Big Jim.
Yes, sir.
What was the exact process of deciding to have Lyra and Bon Bon marry at the end?
Well, we was it the I think Mike was directing that episode, and it came up in the storyboard pitch meeting, and we decided to put it in the background, thinking that if Hasbro has a problem with it, we'll take it out. And we just, like, we always joke like, oh, they're just good friends. We always wanted them to be official in the show too.
Yeah.
We have a lot of LGBTQ+ people who work on the show, and they deserve to see themselves represented in the show that they work so hard on. And we thought, and as for all the LGBTQ+ people who are in the fandom, they deserve to see that representation in the show as well. I wish we could have been a little bit more overt about it, but I'm amazed we got away with what we did. And had the executives at the end were totally on board with they thought it was super cute, and it felt right. It felt like we were just pulling out all the stops for the last season. Like, let's just do it and see. Again, what are they going to do? Fire us?
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Whichever one of you wants to answer first, well, for the voice actors at least, what would be one piece of advice you would give someone who is looking into doing voice acting, like to begin with?
Don't quit your day job. Keep going, keep trying, and don't quit your day job. And like Kelly was saying earlier, rejection is just part of the job. Because if you don't hear a no, you're not in the game. So just keep taking the no's, keep your day job, and keep going. Persevere.
Keep going.
All right.
You're gonna have to. Anything.
Wait.
What? Baby, I want this baby question. Yes, that was a controversial decision. We had a lot of discussions about
Is
that.
that a gift for one of us?
Claire, guess what? That's your baby. Everyone look under your chairs. You get a baby. You get a baby. You get a baby.
So excited.
Oh, man.
This is Zoe, and actually real quick before I ask Jim my question, I just wanted to thank each and every one of you who have worked on the show, whether you've been there from season 1 or...
Thank you for having a baby. That's really making something.
The show actually is one thing that her mother and I bonded over, and
That's awesome.
I guess things are going
Let's
okay.
hear it for love.
And then my actual question for Jim, since we're told to narrow it down, what was like the reaction around the cast and crew when it just became clear what a giant fan base the show had, and that most of them fell outside what the people would consider the target demographic?
It was an adjustment for sure. I think a lot of people didn't believe it at first. There was a lot. We would go to like voice record sessions like, "Hey guys, are you bronies? Not careful looking online. You don't want to see."
Oh my God.
But everyone started to get on board pretty quick. It was really a unique experience. I don't know if it will ever be replicated in my career.
That was great.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys have anything like when you found out the first time?
Well, I was like 12, and I...
You had your computer privileges revoked.
I had my YouTube channel up at the time, and I was just doing literally like, I don't know, like dog vlogs. Honestly, I don't even know. I had my dog with me, and I was like doing vlogs around my house. And then people were like, "Are you Sweetie Belle?" And then and I was like confused, and I was like, "Yeah." yeah, but like, I mean, no one really knows that. I was like, cool, someone looked at my IMDb, and then like 7 more people did it.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, whoa, this is cool. I got fans. Hold on. No.
How can I make some money out of this?
And then they got me my first bank account, and they took, no. And my parents were like, let's hold on here. What is going on? Let's figure this out. And obviously my dad's friends with a bunch of people that are on the cast anyway, so they were all discussing it. I honestly wasn't even a part of it. I was just like told to not respond to comments right away, like, and don't like necessarily engage until we knew what was happening. And then we talked about it in like sessions and stuff, and it was like super fun. And I came to my first convention, and I immediately was like, I get it now. I get it. And then from there, I've been responding to comments ever since.
With that trademark sass.
On the flip side, as a fan, when I found out that we made the show in Vancouver, where I lived, I was so excited at the prospect of even working on it, and then I ended up on it. So it was cool to come from the other side.
How long had you been a fan before you worked on the show?
Oh, since season 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You guys contained your fandom excitement very well.
We just wanted to get hired.
Yeah.
We've got about 5 minutes left, so let's do super lightning round.
Super.
Okay, Claire, real quick.
Yeah.
How many items do you still have that the fandom has given you?
Oh, countless. I have a box back in Vancouver that I have not shipped here. We're in
To Los Angeles.
To Los Angeles yet. It's in a box. I got a box of stuff. I don't know how many items, but I got plushies. I got like a thing, like a lot of like artwork and stuff.
You got a
like,
thing? Get out.
a thing.
A thing
Everything
of
that is that I can take back with me, I have. Pretty much.
Okay, so 9 seasons of the show, several episodes, countless. May or may not include your character. Which episode would you consider your all-time favorite?
Well, we gotta move this to one person this week.
I'll answer it. Season 5, episode 1.
Hi, I have a question for Sunny. Thanks, Joe. That's your name, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it easy for you to play Cozy Glow? Like, how do you get the laugh out and the evil voice?
Oh, the voice is the voice that I usually use to talk to my dog. Your eyes are bigger, so you just open your eyes really wide, but you can't wear contact lenses or they'll pop out. And the laugh, you just laugh and laugh and laugh and try not to pass out.
Does it take time?
It does because they want varying length sometimes, so like, give us everything you got so we can animate around it, and they're like, and something a little shorter, because it's only a 22-minute show.
Laugh for 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
We just want to have options.
He's with me.
Cut out.
He's with me.
These are support friends.
Why for that?
So I've got a question for Jim Miller.
Yes, sir.
So in the finale, this sport basically causes what is arguably the biggest catastrophe in the
Yep.
Yeah.
And he just gets away with it scot-free.
That's what you see. That doesn't necessarily mean that there wasn't repercussions after the episode.
Were there any in mind in your head?
Probably a good spanking.
My.
Yeah, probably.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that may be the rate of fan fiction.
This is for Katrina. What do you think Yona and Sandbar's home will be like?
Aww.
Probably super cute.
Sterile because you can't crossbreed.
You can't crossbreed.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Somebody draw a cute little foal. I want to see it.
Probably a very. It was a very.
I'll let you know.
It's a very hairy pony.
With little horns as well.
Like a little Shetland pony.
A Shetland pony would look exactly like a Shetland pony. Probably green body, brown hair, and it would have its own little blanket as well.
Cute.
We're gonna see it now.
All right, Sunny, or I suppose more specifically, Cozy Glow. Where are your parents? What became of them?
Oh.
Where are they now?
Did you kill them?
So at the top of the hour, don't look under my bed.
Oh! Oh my.
Cozy was a cannibal.
Okay, my question is, did Applejack and Rainbow Dash end up together in the end, or did they just walk
Move in.
Oh.
Whatever you want it to be.
Yeah,
There's no wrong way to
We have our opinions, but I think it's going to be left to fans to decide what it is for themselves.
Oh, a really quick question. What is Rarity doing in Yak Yak Stand?
She's got franchises. So she goes around and checks them out, so that's where she was coming from. She doesn't necessarily live there. She's just making sure they weren't
Traveling
screwing
the
up.
world. She just wanted an excuse to wear a cape.
Yeah. We make a dramatic entrance.
This question is for any of the voice actors that want to answer it, but which episode would you say you had the most fun doing in which the character you voiced was the main character?
She's all yak. I definitely have the most fun.
Oh yeah, a lot. Sure.
British accent. My best impression of Tabitha doing
It's so funny. I love it.
Yeah, that was definitely the most fun I had.
Frenemies. Absolutely.
I knew you were going to say that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all answering? Perfect.
The one where we all get our key marks and there's a bunch of songs and heroes not to
Excellent. I love all three of those.
There you go.
I cried.
Question for Kelly Sheridan. So, in the two-part season 5 finale, how did Starlight Glimmer change from, how did she turn from evil to friendly?
Oh boy. Because it was written that way.
That's correct, yeah.
I think she had the seed for that kind of change in her all along, and it'd been a long time since she was offered true friendship by someone who wasn't terrified of her. And so I think just something got through. You have breakthroughs sometimes, and I think that's what happened. And she was far from being perfect, because that's unachievable. So I think the interesting thing is in season 6, we get to see her try to live up to that transformation.
Yeah, Twilight wanted to be her friend despite her flaws.
Yeah.
And question for Katrina Salisbury. How did it feel when you got the role of Fiona?
Like I was on cloud 9. It was the best feeling, especially as an actor. You're like, I got the job. But My Little Pony was extremely special, and I don't know if I'll ever feel that again. So.
Because you're dead inside?
Because I'm No, it was great. It was the best feeling probably ever. Maybe I'll feel the same way I had a kid one day. I don't know. I'll probably.
A little hairy kid.
I don't think I'll name my kid Jonas. Sorry.
Well, we have managed to get through all the questions. We've gone a little more time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.